Felicia
From the
Michaels,
moment
my
you hear his
princess,
voice, you
has
know
been
they're
entertaining
going to be
audiences
problems.
with a unique
Joey
style
Coco Diaz has
of
been rocking
provocative humor
comedy
since the
stages for
90s, all right?
15 years.
With her
You've
tongue
seen
in
him in
cheek,
films and
she's been
television,
exploring
but
such
his real
topics of the
patois, as
dynamics
he's
of the
fond of saying,
male-female
are the
relationships,
stories from
or
his
as we call
past
them here in
and
the
his
studio,
chaotic
dirty
views on
thoughts,
life that will make
and
this
the
podcast
proliferation
a different
of the
beat.
sensual
Raw
feminist.
pain and
She's a little
passion is how I
firecracker
really
rolled up, and that's
describe
why I
this
love her, and that's
Cuban-born
why you're going to love
New
listening. So
Jersey
tune in, all right?
raised animal.
It's great to see you today.
It's nice to see you too, Joey.
Beautiful day here.
How's it been going?
You know, just trying to put things together, driving around. I had to go to the doctor this morning, and he wanted to take blood out. And as you
And
know,
did you squeal like a little baby?
no, I didn't let him take the blood out. I told him I had things to do and people to see. But he's like, this has to end. It's been 3 years since you had your last blood test. I need to know what your kidneys are thinking. I'm like, I'm pissing like an animal. My kidneys are doing phenomenal. Leave my kidneys alone.
If you had to get your blood taken, like what would the process be?
Oh, it's terrible.
What would you do?
I'll
Would you
play it.
medicate beforehand?
No. I play it off like I'm Clint Eastwood the whole fucking week. I'm a tough guy. I'm going to go in there. And the night before, like this next blood test is scheduled for August 23rd. So we'll do a countdown on this show.
Right.
It's Monday at 8:30. So here's the problem that what happens, right? Like the night before, I can't sleep. The night before is when I start thinking about the fucking needle going in my arm and the blood. Let me give you an example of what's going on.
Okay.
I've been fainting since day one.
Yeah.
And it's the smallest needle, the smallest anything.
Well, what's the most outrageous fainting that you ever did, like when you had the blood taken out?
Okay, like one time I was a kid. I was about 13, or it was about 14. I got paraquat. I got a lung infection from smoking pot. In the late 70s, they sprayed all the fields. The government did. And if you smoked it, and you spit blood out.
Right.
I kept spitting blood up for a summer. I didn't tell nobody. And then somebody told my mom that they seen me spit, and I spit a bunch of blood up. So they came and got me, took me to the hospital. And I'm a 14-year-old kid. I'm not smoking dope. I got girlfriends. I'm playing football. They put me in this hospital. So the first night, I'm lifting weights. I'm hanging out with all these killers and all this shit. And the first night, I wake up the next morning, like they checked me in at 8 o'clock at night, and I fell asleep like at 11. And I got up at 5 the next morning, and the bed was completely wet. From I peed my bed. I mean, it was completely wet.
Really?
I peed my bed. So I got up off the bed, and I'm sitting there, like, completely fucking peed on me, you know. I was scared.
Yeah.
I got pee on me, and this nurse comes in. She's like, Jose Diaz, yeah, we need to take blood out. And I'm like, listen, it ain't going to fucking happen. You see, I peed myself. Look at the size of me. I'm a monster, and I peed myself. Can you come back after lunch? And she's like, oh, no, you're a big guy. We've done this before. And I'm talking to him. The doctor comes in. I'm arguing with him. I'm like, listen, I'm in shock here. Let me just do this on my own terms. Come back this afternoon. No. You're a big guy. Let's do it standing up. So the nurses come in. Oh, yeah, they're changing the bed. I'll never forget this. They're changing the bed. So they take me out into the hallway. And I'm like, bitch, you want my blood, motherfucker? Okay, I'll give it to you. And I stick my arm out, and she sticks the needle in. And all of a sudden, next thing I know, the cart is tipped over. She's on the floor, and I'm on top of her. And the needle is all the way in my arm, and there's blood dripping down my arm. And I get up, and I'm like, I fucking told you. I was going to faint. She's like, I didn't know. We didn't know. So they never messed with me again. They put me in the hospital room, and they handled me with, like, little gloves.
Did they get any blood?
That time, no. They knew I wasn't fucking around, but it was weird because when I woke up, I was on top of her with the cart, like the whole cart. I took the whole cart down, and I was on top of her, and the needle was all the way in my arm. And I woke up, pulled it out, took that tube off. It was fucking, Felicia, you have no idea.
So what do you think drives your big fear of needles?
And it hits me right. Like, I fainted at home a month ago, the night after we went to see Donna Summer. I got home that night. I went to feed the cat downstairs.
I'm sorry, Joey, but when I look at you and you say, I went to go see Donna Summer.
Oh, yeah.
It just warms my
Oh,
heart.
please. I went to see Donna Summer and the Carpenters inducted into the Hall of Fame at the Hollywood Bowl. My friend Damon. We have an in-guest studio today.
We have our first
Damon's
guest.
wicked. Let's give him a round of applause.
First guest.
Producer, director, the whole fucking thing. So we go over there, and I go downstairs to feed the cat, and I had slippers on. Like these fucking morons that put those Nike slippers on with socks. And I walked down my stairs, and as on the way up, my toe got caught on the little ledge. And I knew I cut it.
Yeah.
This is 4 weeks ago. I knew I cut it. And I just went upstairs and sat on the couch. And next thing you know, I looked in the toe, and the whole sock was red. And I could feel myself, like the air gets out of me. It starts getting hot. My temper. And all of a sudden, I break into this skunk sweat. Like everything just breaks out. And all of a sudden, like I was in the middle of the couch, and I had to put myself on the side because I thought I was going to faint. And Fidel jumps on top of me. He's like, meow, meow. So I'm grabbing onto him, and I'm like, breathe, Joe Diaz, breathe. It took me, and I'm trying to call Terry in the other room. I'm like, Terry, but my voice went out.
Oh, my God.
I really go into this state of fucking panic. And it's horrible. It is just a horrible feeling, and it just goes like this from 0 to 60. It's something that you could tell. Like all the color in my
Right.
face goes out. And
Now, do you feel faint when you see other people's blood?
it depends. Like I fainted one time at a UFC
Yeah.
when I looked at a towel and I was with Ralphie May.
Are you serious?
Fuck yeah, I was in between Ralphie May and a girl with big fake tits, and she was like a freak for a doctor. It was like a 60-year-old doctor. I think they met on sugardaddy.com. She didn't get a pony, though. She was next to me with big old titties, and Ralphie May's on the other side of me, and they showed a towel, and I fainted on top of her titties, and they thought, she just kept like saying, oh, how cute. This chubby guy fell asleep on top of me. I finally wake up and I'm pale, and like, thank God the doctor was next to me, took my pulse, and he's like, what's the matter? And I go, man, I can't see blood. I fainted at a UFC event. I fainted watching a UFC when Joe Daddy Stevenson fought BJ Penn. I fainted at home and woke up at 4 a.m, fucking passed the fuck out on my couch. It is horrible.
Joey, what did you do? And I don't mean this like as to be mean or anything, but when were in prison, did they know that you would faint at the sight of blood? Did you ever faint in prison?
Okay, like we talked about the other day, when you go to prison, they take you to diagnostic and they do a medical exam on you and they take blood out. They put you in this fucking tank with 80 guys. So I'm in this tank and I'm thinking to myself, fuck, I'm going down today. So as soon as I go to the thing, they don't even have couches in prison. They have those school desks.
Right.
With, Charlie Loves Lulu and shit, fuck Miss Adams and all that stuff. And I'm sitting at this desk and I'm like, I'm going to go down. And if I faint, these fucking people are going to fuck me in the ass. It's going to be terrible. I'm going to get I'm going to wake up and have a guy fucking me and I'm going to pass out again. You know what I'm saying? That's a double pass out right there. So I'm at the nurse's office. She takes the blood out. I happen to look the other way. Guess what? Guys, I didn't faint.
Oh, really?
I'm like, oh my God. So they give me a cotton ball. I put the cotton ball on my arm and I put my arm up. And I go into the cell in the holding tank and I'm in there telling stories, Joey, da-da-da-da-da-da. And all of a sudden I go, in my mind, I'm like, I grew out of this thing. I put my arm down. I take the cotton ball off and there's a little speck of blood on the cotton ball. I went down like a fucking chick on a Quaalude. You know what I'm saying? I went down. They're like, Joe, what's the matter? I'm like, oh, nothing. I must have been hot in here, so I got away with it. That was one
Right.
time I fainted 2 years ago at the dentist's office. On my back, I just tasted the blood in my mouth. And all of a sudden, the doctor pressed his buzz, and they're like, it was like Bruce Lee on the Island of Han. The lights were going, and Terry's reading a magazine, and she's like, that fucking Momo must have fainted. The Beast podcast at gmail.com if you want to send anything you want to send, anything you want, topics, maybe you don't like us, you like us, send it anyway. We want to know what you think, all right? I went to Dr. Amy, our acupuncturist, to overcome the fear of needles, and that's helped it a little bit. But once a year, I still go down to Dr. Amy. Like, I drop. Like, a couple months ago, she put a bunch of needles in me, and I fucking felt the needle hit my shoulder, and I just dropped.
So how long do you faint for?
I can't tell. You lose time. Like,
Right.
in my head, you just black out, and it's like you're falling down a hill.
Right.
And you hear people saying, Joey, are you all right? Like, you just go under, and you feel like, and all of a sudden, you just come out of it, and people look at me like, holy shit, you weren't lying,
You know what? You have a good woman, because if I was with a man and I knew he had that kind of weakness, I would use it against him all the time.
Oh,
I'd be like, I
please.
want a new pair of shoes. No, you can't have any. Needle to my finger, motherfucker. I want a new pair of
No,
shoes.
it's terrible. I was with her one night, and the cat was in the middle, and this is when Fidel was really young, and she moved in the middle of the night, and he got spooked. And if you look at Terry's face, she's got a claw right through her face. He did it a week before the Longest Yard release came out, and the cat scratched her, and I'll never forget that. I'm like, are you okay? I was petrified. She had a towel on her face, and she went to switch towels, and I could see the blood coming through the towel. Here I am on the floor. She's in the bathroom taking care of herself. I'm in the living room in the old place on the floor, like just saying to her, are you okay? Because I was out cold. She came
Yeah.
out, she's like, are you fucking okay?
Wow.
Look at the shape of you. So
Yeah.
I got to do something to overcome this.
Yeah, I wonder what brings that. I wonder what really brings that on. Like if you had a bad experience as a child, like a little kid that you just don't,
I always fainted. I remember when I was a really young kid, I went to a dentist in New York, and he kept telling, when they tell you to spit, he kept saying, that's not blood, that's toothpaste. And I could taste the blood, and I'm like, this motherfucker's lying to me.
Right.
So on the way out, I stole an ivory elephant that he had in the thing. I was about 5 or 6. I was pissed off. I'm like, I'm taking this fucker's elephant.
Yeah.
And I brought it home. My mom made me bring it back, and then she's like, why'd you tell him it was blood? You know how my son is. He's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So he lied to me, the guy. So I don't know. I just have this thing about phobia and blood, and
Wow.
Hospital
I've
rooms.
only fainted one time, but I remember when one time I fainted when I was like 13 years old, and it's nothing as grandiose as your story. But my mother was in a wheelchair, so I always had to do all the cooking. And when you're a teenager, first of all, don't go cripple if you have a teenager in the house, because that doesn't buy you any fucking sympathy. You know what I mean? And and it was hard, my mom being crippled, because I always had to do the motherfucking dishes. Anyway, but one time she yelled at me, "Go do the dishes," and I was like, blah blah, how you are as a teenager. And I go in the kitchen, but I got up really fast. And I grabbed this a cast iron skillet, and right as I grabbed the skillet, I fainted and knocked myself on the head at the same time. I was fucking out, and my mom just laughed at me from her wheelchair. It's memories.
That's
good,
crazy.
Good times. Good times.
Just one faint. That's it.
That's
You never
all,
fainted
one
out of
faint.
excitement.
Never fainted like that ever.
I don't know. You ever faint, Damon? Never faint. Damon's not a fainter either. I guess I'm the only fainter
You're
in
the
here like
fainter
that.
in the group.
I even stopped me from telling you. I wanted to join the Marines as a kid. I was ready to go kill fucking people. But then when they talked about that blood test, that was it. I was like, fuck it, I ain't gonna be no Marine. You know what I'm saying? Because I can't deal. Just that needle, just that thought. That next day, like that Sunday before the Monday, I'll be crazy.
So even talking about it, does that make you like faint now? Like even talking about
It just makes me feel icky at times. Like I could feel that needle. Like 2 weeks ago, I went to the blood doctor, to the heart doctor, and he called me because you got to go for a stress test and this other thing. And that morning, I was making excuses in my head because they had to put a catheter, a catheter in my wrist, and I'm like, God damn, I'm gonna faint this morning. And you can't eat for 3 hours, so I actually got up at 5, went to the diner, got breakfast. I do it the right way, because it was a 3-hour window gap. As long as I eat, I feel a little better. If I go in there without an empty stomach, it all hits me at once. And when you faint, when you come through, all you want is one thing: Coca-Cola.
Really?
Oh my God! When you faint, that's the only thing you fucking want.
Is that just you, or
I don't
most
know.
people?
I know.
Yeah.
Whenever I faint, there ain't Coke 1, Diet Coke. You could take that shit and take it to the bank. Coca-Cola is the only thing your body craves. I think it's the sugar. Something in that Coca-Cola makes your blood. And they say that when you have blood pressure or something, when your blood pressure goes too low, you should drink cola because it calms it down or whatever. But I always want. But I went to the doctor. And that morning I told the girl, listen, I faint. She goes, don't worry, I'll be gentle with you. And I got to be honest with you guys, I did not feel the needle going into my hand.
Oh, really?
Ladies and gentlemen, I did not feel the needle going into my hand. She comes over to the side to me and she goes, Mr. Diaz, I have something to tell you. We missed the vein. The word vein sent me into a fucking tizzy. Do you understand me? So that's what I'm trying to tell you people, that the pain of the needle, sometimes it's just mental.
Right.
Well, she just said we miss the vein. Just that word, V-E-I-N, vein. And that word vein, I just seen fucking spots. I had to start breathing, and it took me so deep like that. I didn't faint, but I went down so deep that when I got to the stress test, my pressure had dropped so low that they had to shoot me with that pharmaceutical speed in the fucking thing. If you ever get shot with that stuff.
This just happened?
Yeah, 3 weeks ago.
Are
On a
you
Monday morning, I
serious?
had to go down there. I went under so bad, my blood pressure had dropped so bad from the needle that they had to shoot in the catheter with the speed when I was in the stress test. Let me tell you something. If you ever get the chance to do pharmaceuticals one time in your life, do each of them. I don't care what it is. If it's a pharmaceutical finger up the ass, everything's different when it's pharmaceutical.
Pharmaceutical, yeah.
You understand me? They hit me with this pharmaceutical speed that was so brilliant because I got on the treadmaster and I went from like nothing, and all of a sudden my fat little legs were going and my heart was going. I could feel it, and within 10 minutes I had a shit, and it was good shit. Like when you just go and it comes out in one shot, you know what I'm saying? Like one broop. So that's good liquid speed right there. People know at home. I don't know if you've ever done cocaine. Everybody do cocaine here? You do 2 bumps. You got to go to the bathroom.
Wow.
Like just thinking about it. When I called the dealer and I knew he was coming, I'd have to fucking hang up the phone. I got to go to the bathroom. Sometimes he'd be down there ringing the bell. Where you been? I got to take a shit. Sometimes you got to give grandma the money. Grandma, when he comes, get it. Don't look in the envelope. Don't look in the envelope because
Wow. Well, see, this is information that you can only get here
at
at beautyandthebeast.com.
Email us with your fainting stories,
Yes,
your medical
email us
stories if you have
with your fainting stories.
I got a bunch of emails this week. I'd like to thank the people who emailed us and told us about problems we had and shit like that. I love when people take the time to email you, to send you torture mail, you know what I'm saying? But
There
it
were
was
problems?
Nah, it was like good and bad. Like, I like you, I like Felicia. I don't know where you guys were. It's like all these people become fucking technical people. If you're going to send me an email, tell me I'm a fat fuck and Felicia's a cocksucker. I would be much more happier than
cocksucker,
that.
by the way.
But I don't want to hear emails about stupidity. Like it's like going to see a comedy show going home and writing a letter to the comedy club telling them that the comic said, suck my dick on stage.
By the way, I was working at Side Splitters in Tampa, Florida, and then a week later, I get an email from a guy that says, your show was unholy. Unholy. Like, you know, you just can't say you suck, or, you know, why don't you read a book and write some jokes? You know
Now, here's the crazy thing.
Unholy?
Explain the email and what was the text he put on there, because I think you told me about this. Was it something about he didn't like what you was talking about, blowjobs or something? Was it something to do with that effect? This is what kills me. A guy would go home and write.
Here it is.
That means if you offered that guy a blowjob, he would tell you, unfucking holy. No, he wouldn't. Do you know what I'm saying? What guy would turn down a blowjob? Even if he turned it down and went to the bar for a minute and said, man, that's a blowjob. You know what I'm saying? So this guy wrote an email. Go ahead. I'm sorry,
right.
Felicia.
Okay. I saw your performance, and performance is
Spelt wrong. Okay.
in Tampa recently, which is spelt wrong. I got to tell you, I was disappointed as you did not live up to your billing. I was expecting a smart, sexy, well-spoken lady who could challenge me intellectually, that's misspelled, as well as spend time in the cellar, the is misspelled, with your unholy rants and raves. I think you have the potential to product. I guess he's meaning to say produce the kind of comedy that I like, intellectually rewarding and a lot less blue. I had a hard time dealing with the foul mouth words that you is misspelled chose to use. I know you can do better, and I hope is misspelled. You try and see if it works. Well, why don't you fucking spell check?
Listen, I don't like spell check either. The point of the fucking matter is this guy took
Unholy,
the time.
though?
One guy, you did 6 shows.
Right.
200 people a show.
Right.
1,200 people. You had one unsatisfied guy that actually went home and took the time to write an email. Unholy. What was unholy? You talked about giving head while you're on the text message. What the fuck is unholy about that?
What is unholy? Is it so I wrote him back, and I never write back, and because this is, I've only been doing it again, comedy, for a year and a half, because I took 8 years off. But I actually, for the first time, wrote him back, and anybody back, and I just said, really, that's what you're gonna say? And if I'm just a mirror to the reflection of what's going on, my man, you know what I mean? Like, what's up with that? That, have a nice 4th of July, you fuck. But I didn't write that part, but I wanted to. And, and I had to Google a bunch of, facts about being a woman in today's society and put it in there. And I spell checked because,
That's how you roll.
That's how I roll.
I've been to a couple thousand things, and so have you, and so has Damon, of entertainment value, whether it be a movie, a play, a TV series, a pilot. And you know what? We're all 50-50 of it. I always have respect for the person for just doing what the fuck they do.
Yeah.
And I'm the first one to say that movie sucked, like he just asked me about Kick-Ass. But the movie was ingenious in a way, because it had a lot of things that were kind of cute. It wasn't The Godfather. It wasn't Romancing the Stone, you know what I'm saying? But whatever it was an okay movie. And I think that I give the people props for being a little bit more creative.
Right, yeah.
Creative,
yeah,
Anybody who does what we do in any level, I always applaud them.
But to write such an email, I just don't understand. They just must be lonely people.
Yeah, they're lonely.
And the thing is, and this is what I wrote him too. Like, dude, you're gonna go spend $50 at a show. Why don't you fucking Google who you're gonna go see? It's no secret that my act is X and R rated. It's no secret. Google before you go.
That's a good point. That's rule number 1 here at Beauty and the Beast. Google before you go, so there's no fucking complaints later.
Yeah.
Whether it be a Chinese. I like these people that go to a restaurant. They go, well, I'll say it like I was hungry. I went to Roma, but there was a line. So I went to the Chinese place across the street, and it sucked. Did I tell you to go to the Chinese place across the street? You took that upon yourself, cocksucker. You should have waited online. By the way, I went to Roma today, and it was delicious again.
Oh, yeah?
Roma on Lancashire, fucking delicious.
I want to try that.
The hot beef sandwich with the roasted red peppers and the tomato cucumber.
Right.
It's only like 11 points for the Weight Watcher people out there. And it's nutritious and delicious with a Diet Coke. And beat this, it's $7.68. Coco Diaz and my little princess of love, Felicia Michaels, Beauty and the Beast.
At gmail.com.
That's
you want
right.
to email us some unholy thoughts.
That's right. We'll be right back. Don't forget about us. Stay black.
Jeez Louise. What's up with the exes? And I was just saying to Joey, it's not about men suck. It's not about women suck. Individual people suck sometimes,
They
you know?
really do. They really do.
just can't believe it. I was also telling Joey that I fell in love with my husband when I met him because he had, before we met, separated with his wife, and it was pretty amicable divorce. And we went to lunch, and she's still a very lovely lady, and we got along all wonderfully. And I thought to myself, I could love this person because this person, when you break up with this person, if that should ever happen, is going to be a stand-up guy. And the realization 15 years later, it's not about him, it was about us, that we were the two coolest chicks on the planet. You know what I mean? Because he's just the biggest. Arg, arg.
You know, I dealt with death and I dealt with divorce, and I'll tell you, it's two different things. Because when somebody dies, they just die and they go away, and you know where you stand. But when you get divorced, and especially when you have children in the mix, either you get along or you don't get along. And when you get along, it's a good thing when everybody's amicable. But when you don't get along, it's worse than fucking war, because this person across from you is the person you shared a life for 10 years or more. And all of a sudden, they're coming at you with things you've never even heard of that you couldn't even say to you. Like I said, my ex-wife was robbing my weed and then going to the court and saying, he smokes weed, let's give him a piss test.
Yeah.
She was robbing my weed. So people do things that are uncharacteristically, but you just got to bear with it. And it's peaks and valleys, you know.
I know, and I gotta tell you, Joy, you know, my parents got divorced, as most people's parents out there, and my mom was devastated because it was in a time where if you weren't married, you didn't have a career, you were fucked. Your identity as an individual was completely skewered and scattered, and you were fucked. And when I was growing up, my mom would always try to kill herself. Like, I would come home, the pills be all over her fucking chest. I'd be like, I think I can do my trigonometry homework before I fucking call 911. Like, you know what I mean? And that's something that I grew up with. And then when I went through my divorce, my husband started having an affair with one of my closest friends. I lost my shit, and I was at the Beverly Center, on the third floor at the Beverly Center, losing my shit. I was so fucking angry and so devastated. I had my hands on the rail. I thought to myself, I'm going to jump off this motherfucker. I'm going to jump off, kill myself right in front of BCBG, and red will be the new black. And then I had this moment, and I was fucking mad at my mom my whole life. Like, bitch, why you always got to kill yourself? Grow some balls. Come on, let's go. You know, be a stripper. Make some money. Let's go. Anyway, but I had this moment of clarity, like, wow, my mom, you know, didn't try to kill herself because she's a weak piece of shit and my dad crushed her. She just wanted that fucking anger to go away. You just get so angry. Like, you know what I mean? And actually that was a good moment because it was such a full circle moment.
Yeah, you see the light. You see the light.
Like, wow, my mom wasn't a weak person. Just the anger will fucking poison you. Like, I don't even care that you guys are together. Do what you gotta do. But why are you fucking with me? Why?
And the anger, it's a weird anger, because my anger, I mean, after I got divorced, I had just started comedy. And there was a point in my divorce where this is how fucked up my mind was. I was ready to kill him. At the same time, I was going to turn myself in and become a joke writer for Jay Leno, get a fax machine, have my friends send me a fax machine in the prison,
right?
And I was just going to send jokes to Jay Leno and try to get $35. I was content with doing that.
I
Fuck
like
comedy.
That plan. I like that plan.
Yeah, fuck comedy, fuck everything. I'm going to kill this motherfucker just to prove a point.
And that was your wife's new man?
That was my wife's new man, and it wasn't really him that was confusing everything. It was her that was putting the fire into him. You know, she went and got a female attorney, which really changed everything. You know, 1 minute she's like, just give me $250 a month, and we'll work this out for daycare. You know, at the time, just pay for daycare, and we got separated. The next minute, she's like, I need $2,000 a month, and whatever you didn't pay $2,000 on is retro.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fucking mind-boggling. It was, and the anger wasn't from the paying or anything like that. It was what they were doing with the child, how they used the child. And like I said, I was getting ready to the point. Like, one day, he saved himself. The Lord saved me. And I always say that because I had gone home and gotten a knife, and I went to his work. And I was already planned it out. That's what, I never knew what premeditation was till that situation came to me, and I was in the car driving home saying, that's premeditated murder. I had already planned, like, before you leave your house, if you already got your suitcase ready to go to jail and you got your paperwork, that's premeditated. Yeah. And I remember driving down there, and until this day, that would have been my life changer, because I was walking right in the building. I did walk in the building with the butcher knife. You know, I really did come in there. And then eventually, what got me really going was I ended up smacking him. and I smacked him. This is how God works. I had 2 felonies, and I had 1 more felony, and it's a career criminal thing in Colorado.
Right.
And I was driving there. My little girl, I went to pick her up. She was 4, and he said, my little girl asked me what the word spick meant. And I said, where did you hear that? And she goes, every time you call the house, that's what John said. I go, get in the car. And I drove right to his, I went to drop him off at Safeway. I don't know if you know Boulder at all. It's on 30th on the outskirts. And I got out of the car and I gave him an opportunity. I said, I don't really like you. I had spit in his face once before when I dropped the kid off because he told me not to take the kid to Jurassic Park. You're the boyfriend. Don't ever fucking tell me.
Right.
You know, relax.
Yeah.
So this one day I took him out like a man. I go, look, I left my daughter in the car. I go, here's the situation. My daughter just said spick. If she was an East Coast little girl, we're in. She heard it at school.
Right.
But they don't use that word in Colorado. Only racist fucks like you, cocksucker from Idaho, use that word. And he goes, I don't know what you're talking about. Felicia, I looked him in the face. I go, I'm going to give you an out. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to say you did it. If you say you did it, this is over. We'll shake hands and part friends. But if not, you're calling my little girl a liar. And he's like, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. And I said, you got one opportunity to come clean. He didn't say it. Felicia, with everything I had, I didn't care if I did the 25 years. I punched him in the fucking eye. At Safeway, right outside. Some lady's like, I'm calling the police. I go, go mind your fucking business. Go suck a dick and all this shit. And I smacked him again. He goes, I'm calling the police. And I go, you know what? Now I'm going to give you one to go. And I hit him in the same eye. Bam. And my little girl's in the car, and she's fucking holding on to it. And that's when I really realized I can't do this.
Yeah.
Cops came. I did an AIDS benefit under an alias. I got caught for misdemeanor. I gave it an alias.
And your aliases.
I did an AIDS benefit under an alias, and the cops came and they're like, Jimmy, what's the problem?
Don't they know that's your alias?
And I told them what happened, and here's how God works in mysterious ways. They gave me a ticket because they knew me.
Yeah.
I went into court the next day. In the Boulder city limits, you're not allowed to use a racial epithet, a racial slur.
Oh, yeah.
If you use a racial slur, you got one coming to you. That's the J.J. Flanagan law. So here I am, ready to go to jail for 25 years, and the judge goes, dismissed, you did good. Next time you call Mr. Diaz a spick, you got more coming to you. He had to leave court. His eye was gigantic. I get in the car with my daughter. She's like, you should have seen his eye this morning at breakfast. I couldn't stop laughing. And that's when it really hurt me.
Yeah.
But I got that anger out. And all that anger I had built up, those 2 punches, was better than any fucking therapy session. That motherfucker never even came to pick her up again.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough.
It's really tough, you know, and you have to do what's right. And, you know, and especially when you come from divorced parents, as you know, you get it. You know what I mean? You understand the damage that your kids are seeing and you know, embracing and going to carry with them for the rest of their lives. And I just don't understand why all the nastiness. Like sometimes I get these emails and she's just like, you need to, you know, go take a grammar class. Really, dude? I'm sorry. I'm right in the middle of 23 different things, you know, that I didn't, you know, write persnickety the correct way. I don't know. Like why always ratchet up the anger? And then I realized it's because she was my friend. I think she is so angry with me because I wasn't in love with my husband anymore. And you know what? My husband wasn't in love with me anymore. I wasn't upset that they were together. I was upset at all the shit they did to me, you know, when they got together. Like telling my kids they were together before, you know, they told me they were together. Like, why would you tell a 5-year-old you're in love with mommy's best friend first? Why don't you tell mommy and everyone deal with shit in private? And here's my thing. If you're fucking someone's wife, if you're fucking someone's husband, be fucking classy about it and do it in secret for 6 months. You know what I mean? Is that so fucking bad? The sex goes downhill once it ain't in secret anyway. You know what I'm saying, Joey? Am I wrong about that?
You're right.
Once
No,
everyone
you're
knows
right.
you're fucking, what's the point
What's
of
the
fucking?
point of fucking? Yeah. It's great to go to a hotel and pull their hair in the afternoon at some dingy hotel where you can smell cigarettes
Who
and feet.
wants to give that up?
Yeah, no.
But she's so mad that all her life she just wanted to be married to a successful guy. And it's like she's so angry that I just wanted not to have that anymore. I wanted to be my own person with my own adventure again. And I don't think he's such a terrible guy, but I don't understand why he just doesn't say enough is enough. Enough is enough. I don't even talk to her, and she still emails me all the time.
You're going to have to say something. You have to put your foot down and go on, listen.
No, I do. I say something every time.
You have no reason to fucking contact me. You have
I
no reason in the
do.
world. You have no reason
And
in the
it's
world.
like, okay, so you're with my ex-husband for 2 months. Don't go on a school camping trip with my kids. Other people don't know. Please stop trying to volunteer at my kid's school. I don't care. I'm spilling the beans. Fuck it. Yeah, now I'm all you. You have like my demeanor right now. You're like, oh, Felicia. And I'm all like, yeah,
Oh, I'm
fuck it,
looking at you.
cocksuckers.
I'm looking at you, and we switched today. This is like that movie Switch with Jimmy Smits and that girl. Nah, sometimes you just have that in you. You know, I feel good today. I did smoke pot last night finally after 5 days at BB King
Oh,
and
well,
Buddy Guy. I broke down last night.
How was that show?
BB King talked too much, but Buddy Guy lit that motherfucker up.
Really?
Lit it up, you know, and it was pretty impressive to see a 60-year-old guy. I mean, that guy's great.
Right.
You know, Rolling Stone rated him like the 13th best guitar player in the world. They're so fucking wrong. Rolling Stone don't know dick about dick. They didn't even like the Led Zeppelin albums when they came out, I heard. They fucking panned them. They said they were terrible and shit.
Really?
So now they're trying to redeem themselves and do like this top 10 guitarist, and they had like Eddie Van Halen or something in front of them, which I like, but they ain't no fucking Buddy Guy, whatever that guy's name is. They ain't him. He was amazing. He took blues
good.
from the beginning, and he did Voodoo Child with his fucking teeth.
Oh, really?
You understand me? He did Voodoo Child with his fucking teeth.
If he can do Voodoo Child on the guitar,
With his teeth.
Mrs. Buddy Rich.
Yeah.
Is that his name, Buddy Rich?
Buddy Guy.
Oh,
Buddy Rich
Guy.
is the
Mrs.
drummer.
Buddy Guy must be very happy lady.
But, you know, just so people out there know, and if you have suffered through a divorce or a separation, you know, some of them are painful. I'm happy you touched on it today because it's been eating away at you. I can tell it's been eating away at you. Fuck it. Get it out.
Yeah.
That's what Beauty and the Beast is about. You
Yeah.
follow me? To get this shit out.
Don't do shit in front of your kids, though. That's all I.
No,
say.
don't do stuff like because that does take you. I'm a loud fucking guy. You know, I'm Cuban. In my house, there was a lot of yelling. My house, there was yelling to get coffee. Like my stepdad yelled at my mom to get coffee because he was half deaf. So I picked that up growing up. My voice is a lot louder. But one thing I swore, if I ever had a family and kids, I didn't want any yelling in my house.
Yeah.
I didn't want that drama that those Cubans fucking had when I was a kid. I didn't want that. And even now, I got the cats, and when I yell sometimes on the phone at people, I get mad, I can see the cats tear ass out of the room. Because it's just an energy. It's just a bad fucking energy you're putting out there, you know?
Yeah.
So I always say, and that's good. I like how you live, and I've always admired. The reason why I'm sitting here with you, by the way, number one is because I've always admired your balls and your single mom shit. You know, there's single moms that sit at home and fan their fucking pussies. You're an active silver mom.
Don't get me wrong. I have found my
I
pussy
know,
in the past.
but you're an active single mom. You're out there. You're out there
I have
doing
a big
comedy.
life. I am,
You're
you
out there
know,
doing
yeah.
a Vegas, and you hear
Yeah.
all these single moms. You know, you see these little fucking cunts. They get divorced, and they put their spandex on. They're dropping the kid off with a bunch of story and pomp and circumstance. And that's never been you. You've been really putting your energy where it belongs, and I'm very proud of you. And that's why we're sitting together, because I admire you for that. I've always admired single women. I always think that they talk about Chuck Liddell and all these tough guys. There ain't nothing like a single mom, bitch.
No, a single mom will kick some ass.
Nothing like
Yeah,
a single mom.
yeah. If you have any ideas, anything you would like to have us talk about,
Email us,
Again.
beautyandthebeastpodcast@gmail.com for messages and positive, negative, whatever it may be. Felicia, don't forget to post your schedule up for these people so they can come check you out in New York next week.
yes, I'm going to be
Doing
in
the
New York.
Underground Comedy Festival.
The New York Underground Comedy Festival, run by a dear friend of mine, Carol Montgomery, very funny lady. Yeah. So thanks, you guys, for listening.
Thank you guys again, and love you, and stay black, and thank you for all the positive stuff, and thank you for listening. You know, I know you have a lot of choices, but we're some bad motherfuckers, and we're just going to keep getting better and better. Beauty and
The Beast.
Felicia Michaels.
Joey motherfucking Diaz.